And I do want to talk a little bit about Mossad. This is a tweet from the Times of Israel saying a former head of Mossad's economic warfare unit, Yudi Levy, told the Times of Israel that Iran very well could have a global financial network to bypass sanctions. Is that the case, Majid?
As I mentioned earlier, sanctions have limitations, and as we saw, the significant sanctions that we have put on the regime in Tehran has thus far failed to change their behavior, and they are obviously very good at creating front companies and ways to avoid sanctions. And so I can't speak to a specific example you provided there, but I can speak to the fact that Ayatollahs will find a way to blackmail the international community. And our solution, congressional solution really, is to support the people of Iran.
Let's talk about how these sanctions could impact Iran's proxies. How could they impact the proxies? What type of sanctions? When we talk about sanctions on Iran, are we basically also talking about sanctions on the proxies as a whole?
Yes, of course. But most all of these sanctions are, the regime in Tehran is literally running Hezbollah. Hezbollah is really the IRGC itself. When we're talking about sanctioning the regime in Tehran, we by definition are curtailing their terrorist activities abroad, which includes those proxies. So yes, Mr. McCall's resolution does help significantly in weakening the regime. Our assertion, our community that's working across this country with our lawmakers, the victory for our community is that Mr. McCall's resolution has come to pass. The victory for democracy is that Iran is more isolated. The victory for global democracy is that the people of Iran are boots on the ground and are willing to fight and sacrifice to get rid of this regime. And the weaker they become through these sanctions, the easier their job will be. But we have to cross the threshold. We have to offer them political and moral support. Hence the provisions as specified in House Resolution 1148 become significant.